Hi everyone, this is Hoodie Angel Brandon here today covering the Pokemon press conference for 2018. Naturally, the one time I decided to go to bed at a reasonable time like a normal human being, they dropped this on me. So I didn't see it when it first came up, I watched it afterwards. But we're going to be going over and just giving my thoughts on what they covered there. So they started by talking about the history of the series and how it's grown in the last 22 years since it came out with red and green, or in America, red and blue versions. And they said they'd be covering products from both 2018 and 2019. And they mentioned how Pokemon has evolved as time has gone on, from the Game Boy to the Game Boy Color, alongside Nintendo's hardware. And with the Switch being out, it's time for it to evolve once again. So the first game they were going to talk about was for Switch and smartphones, with the second being a new main series RPG for the Switch, which got my hopes very high. And then third, they wanted to talk about a new device, and then just wrap up some stuff with things that are going to be coming later. But first, let's dive in with the game for both Switch and smart devices. That one is called Pokemon Quest, and it has this blocky aesthetic to it. It's alright. I don't care for it that much. I like it better than the Pokemon Rumble weird kind of toy-like aesthetic. It's kind of similar, but it's kind of like Pokemon Legos, I guess. Anyways, it's a free-to-start downloadable game. Actually, it came out today after the press release. I actually just downloaded it while I was getting things set up to record this video, but I haven't actually played it yet. Here it is right there. But that is obviously out now on the Nintendo Switch eShop, and it's coming for smartphones later at the end of June is what they said they're aiming to release it for. But it's a free-to-start downloadable game. The cube-like Pokemon are called Pokécells, and it apparently only has Pokemon from red and blue or green in Japan. In other words, Generation 1. I love the Gen 1 pandering that they've been on since, like, what, Sun and Moon with the Alolan forms only? really having fun with that. And it uses simple controls, and it can use the Switch's touchscreen as an option, as well as the Joy-Con with TV mode. The point of the game is you come to this island. It's called like Tumble Cube Island or something like that, and you're in search of a great treasure, and to find it you have to recruit various Pokemon and form adventuring teams. Similar to like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, or kind of like Pokemon Rumble as well. That same kind of idea where you get your team of Pokemon, you go out and adventure and search for loot and strengthen your Pokemon. It's an action RPG. You go on the quests, so you're just looking for this treasure. They didn't really say, they just called it a great treasure, so I'll have to actually see what it is you're actually looking for. But you find Pokemon by cooking with ingredients to attract different Pokemon, then you add them to your team, and you go out and explore. Like I said, really getting a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon kind of vibe to it, only instead of playing as the Pokemon, just the idea of like exploring with a squad of Pokemon, though. That reminds me of the Mystery Dungeon games, which is cool. I like the Mystery Dungeon games. I've only played the first, like the Red Rescue Team or Blue Rescue Team and Explorers of Darkness, but those were both pretty good, so if it's like that, then for a free-to-play game, it'll be fun. Nice way to just pass the time while I do other stuff. Anyway, that about covers what they discussed for that game. Next, they talked about the new main series RPGs for the Switch, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, which they filed the trademark for those titles like a week ago or something, and when I heard about it, and I actually thought it was like a joke. I thought that they were just like covering their bases, like they were just registering those names, like they did with Pokemon Delta Emerald or whatever. They like filed the trademark for it and then never did anything with it. I didn't actually expect these to be real titles, but here we are. And so these are supposed to be based on Pokemon Yellow version for the original Game Boy. I don't know if they're remakes or just inspired by, but from what I saw, it looked like they were full-fledged like remakes. So I guess we're going back to Kanto. Anyway, side note, I'm really sick of these split versions. I was really hoping that with the transition to the Switch and with games costing more, they would finally drop the split version thing, but I guess not. Yay. From here on out, I'm probably just going to start buying only one copy of each version, or one copy of a game for each gen instead of trying to buy all of them, or buy two and whatever. Anyway, they had a short trailer showcasing things, and the first thing I noticed was how much I love the graphical style. You can tell just how much better the graphics look going up from the 3DS to the Switch. I mean, the 3DS graphics, I still liked them, but they were really, it was clear the hardware was holding the games back. It just looks so nice on the Switch. Anyway, the starter Pokemon are Eevee and Pikachu based on the version that you get. Hashtag Team Eevee. I don't have an Eevee plush, just a Sylveon, so I'll have to do, but Sylveon doesn't sound like it's in the game, so meh. Actual features and things they showed off. First, you can see Pokemon in the overworld, like in the grass, and so if you're in like a cave and you see Geodudes and Zubats, you can choose what Pokemon you want to encounter. Say you want a Geodude for your team, you can go fight that, or if you need Zubat for the Pokedex, just take a step and they'll swarm you anyway, so who really cares? Anyway, other things, that you can flick the Joy-Con to throw the Pokeball, which is a cool little feature that makes it feel a little more immersive, but it doesn't sound like you have the option to just press a button like normal, which is unfortunate, because, you know, if that's the case, then you won't be able to play with like a Pro Controller or anything, which means you'll kind of be forced to use it with the Joy-Con, which some people won't like. I personally use the Joy-Con for just about everything, but it is what it is. Anyway, other things. The first thing that actually they showed off that really got me excited for it was multiplayer, like side-by-side cooperative multiplayer. You just shake the Joy-Con and a second player can spawn in and just hop in on your adventure. That's really cool. It's something that I've wanted, like a cooperative Pokemon multiplayer type thing since I started the series in Gen 4. Back then, the closest thing we had was the Sinnoh Underground, where you'd go down and you just kind of like explore with friends, or like play capture the flag with each other's bases. That was the closest thing that we had at the time to like side-by-side actual multiplayer, as opposed to the standard trading and battling. But this is like, you can actually just play the whole game with a friend, which is awesome. I really like that. Next, they showed off that you can have certain Pokemon, or you can have any Pokemon follow you, and some of the larger ones you can actually ride on them. Like they showed flying on Charizard, riding on Onyx's head, surfing on Lapras, of course. That's really cool. That's a feature that people have wanted back since Heart Gold and Soul Silver, where you had the Pokemon following you. And a lot of people were really bummed when Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon didn't have that feature, even though they found like coding in the files for it. So that feature finally returning is really cool. And then they also showed off dressing up certain Pokemon. They only showed it with the Eevee and Pikachu, who I assume, since they're the starters, are the only ones who get that treatment. If so, then that'll be kind of disappointing, but it's a cute feature either way. Then they showed off a new device and control method called Pokemon Plus, which it looks like a Pokeball. It looked bigger than this, like it would actually fit like more in your hand, but this is the closest thing I've got. And it basically just works as a controller. You can throw it to throw Pokeballs, and apparently you can control the whole game with it, which it only has like the one thing on the Pokeball, so I don't know how that's gonna work, but it looked interesting. It will actually emit the cries of the Pokemon you capture with it, and it will rumble. I'm guessing it'll use something similar to the HD Rumble and the Joy-Con. You can also carry a Pokemon with it, like the Pokewalker from Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and take them out into the world with you. They said some things could happen, but they didn't elaborate on that, unfortunately. So it'll be interesting to see what those do. But you have to buy that separately. So you can also connect the games to Pokemon Go and bring over Kanto region Pokemon from Go to the new games. And they were very deliberate in saying Kanto region, which alongside the fact this is like a Yellow remake, or it seems to be a Yellow remake, and the fact that we didn't see any new Pokemon in the trailer, well, by new I mean from Gen 2 onwards, makes me afraid that it just won't have any option to use newer Pokemon. Because they also didn't mention anything about Pokemon Bank connectivity or anything like that, or connecting to the Gen 7 games and bringing Pokemon forward from there. So the only thing they mentioned was you can use Go to bring forward your Kanto generation Pokemon and Alolan Executor, who is going to be premiering in Pokemon Go today. So this is the biggest thing that I really don't like about this whole presentation, is just this constant Gen 1 pandering. If you love friggin' Pikachu and Charizard, great, good for you. But basically what Pokemon's saying is, if you love anything past then, if you like Scizor, Tyranitar, Gardevoir, Blaziken, Lucario, Greninja, Minior, the best Pokemon of all time, they're basically just saying, well, guess what? You don't matter as much to us as the Gen 1 fans. And that's really stupid. It's just, why are you leaving your fan base, like chunks of your fan base, out of these games? It really gets to me. I know, like, anyways, and they were like, our goal is to create a Pokemon RPG for everyone. And then they leave out 6 generations of Pokemon fans. It's like, yeah, good job with that. So that's my biggest gripe with this whole thing, is just, if you like Gen 2, you like Gen 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, you're out of luck. Play this Gen 1 game and just enjoy it. Other than that, though, the game looks really promising. It looks really cool. I just wish that the Gen 1 pandering could stop. Anyway, beyond that, they mentioned for the future, they are working on another Core Series game simultaneously with these Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee games, which sounds like what I and any other fan of the newer Pokemon is going to have to wait for. And that's planned to release in the second half of 2019, so I guess Pokemon is on hold for this year. I'm going to be playing Pokemon Quest and try and fill that void. Anyways, the Let's Go games are scheduled for November 16th as a global release alongside the Pokeball Plus. So that's my thoughts on it. It's generally really cool. There's a lot of really cool stuff in there. There's just the insistence on Gen 1 is the only generation that matters that really gets to me. But what do you all think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you hyped? Are you disappointed like I am? Let me know. And until next time, this is Hoodie Angel Brennan signing out.